Now for a trip inside Trump world's
Hall of Mirrors.
Hey, Steven, heads up. We're going to need you in 15 for the trio PK.
Okay, thanks, Quarter Black.
Oh, yeah, and I put some extra mushrooms on that Swiss there for you. I know you like them, so.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
It made me wonder at the end of a long week, was this a lie too? But this, now, the Trump presidency, this is what a crisis of leadership looks and feels
Hey,
like.
Quarter Black?
Yep.
Every week, another scandal.
Where'd you say you got these mushrooms again?
From a fan.
This
Mug
week
Clubber
it
from
involved
Colorado.
Rudy Giuliani, you see him there on Hannity. This week, I have to admit, I some of the internet screen, some of the headlines, some of the White House credibility crisis. I mean, that is true.
When I hit rock bottom, I go back to the top of the slide, where I stop and I take all my gears for a ride. Then I hit rock bottom and I see you again. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Do you, don't you want me to screw you? I'm making up crap that I'm trying to sell you. Tell me, tell me, tell me, come on, tell me the answer. Well, I may be alive, but I ain't no reporter. Have the stutter.
He's been behaving this way his whole life. After Trump entered politics on a lie about President Obama.
Jeez.
Have the stutter. Fabricating fake news, waiting for the acts to come. Corporation stuff shirt, fake news, bloody lackey. Man, I've been a naughty boy, I got my sources wrong. I am the Eggman, I look like an Eggman. I am a walrus, cuckoo-cuckoo. Sitting in an English garden, waiting for a scoop. If the scoop don't come, I fabricate one, make it up and claim it's news. I am an Eggman.
How do you do, Brian?
My head is an Eggman.
Man still claims he's straight.
I am a walrus. Cuckoo-cuckoo, cuckoo-cuckoo. Will you want me to screw you? I'm making up crap, but don't let me fool you. Tell me, tell me, tell me. Come on, tell me the answer. You can be my lover, but I'm a chubby dancer. Have the stutter. Have the stutter. Have the stutter. Have the stutter.
Steven.
I've been thinking about that.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out
You ready?
what is new. I think the answer is the
Yeah, I was
reporting.
just...
Reporters are
And
revealing
you were,
lies one by one.
No, yeah, I'm
You know,
good.
Stormy Daniels made a cameo.
Are you feeling all right?
Same for Dr.
Oh my God!
So parody by SNL. That's the president's former.
Have the stutter. Have the stutter.
Join Mug Club today for $89 annually or try it mugless for $9 a month. You can sign up at ladderwithcredit.com/mugclub for the entire catalog, including Nick DiPaolo, Brian Callen, Mr. Guns and Gear, and of course, Alex Jones, along with 100% more of this show. It's minty. That's totally relevant. Glad to be with you. It's This has actually calmed down me because you guys don't get to see run through, but
Calmed
run through
down
is
me?
when,
Oh, Lord.
This is the calmed down me. Well, people don't realize during run through, we usually just blow a gasket. We're like, I can't believe this. And then we're like, okay, now we have to frame it so that we can serve you with references and, actually add value, because otherwise it would just be us going all day.
That was Ginger Snap. He was, oh man.
Yeah.
He was ready to start killing people.
We had a lot of things to add in today. So, look, let me just give you the rundown. First off, we're going to talk about Stephen Colbert because this man is remarkably inconsistent and he's a liar. And I don't mean he's a liar in that I'm taking a joke out of context. I mean he's a propagandist, and we have the receipts. We'll prove it with some before and afters. We're going to be comparing some scandals here. I don't know if you know this, but there was a tweet that came out from part of the Donald Trump camp about third world countries.
Yeah.
And that's a big scandal. Compared to Kamala Harris, who's been buying fake headlines that Google has allowed and not even told you is an advertisement. Fake headlines for AP, I believe Axios, Reuters. Praising Kamala Harris. They will show up in search, and they will show up as organic news articles that don't actually exist, and Google didn't have a problem with it. And there was also a glitch where it didn't show you that it was a sponsored ad.
It's a glitch.
Yeah. While she complains about Twitter and the billionaire class. How much is that in free advertising? You can comment below. Also, we're going to break apart Kamala's her new economic surge. A lot of you are concerned about this. The poll is bullcrap. I will leave no doubt. It is a bullcrap poll. It is not. As a matter of fact, the poll, spoiler alert, tells you the exact opposite, that people believe they will be worse off under a Kamala Harris administration, including with an oversampling of Democrats. So don't allow them to defeat you before anything has actually been played here. And the UAW is suing Donald Trump and Elon Musk. So we'll talk about that.
Whatever. And
more. If at some point today, which if we do get into Snow White, I don't know if we have time. I don't like the broad. You may see this on YouTube. Head over to Rumble because it's a live show. Weekdays, 10 a.m. Eastern. And of course, we continue on Mug Club. Mug Club is the only way this show continues. If you enjoy the free show, well, it still only exists because there are other people who've joined up. We're not funded by Qatar over here.
not yet. I'm looking at it.
There aren't enough clocks in briefcases in the world.
It's true.
So, let me ask you this. What do you think is the biggest scandal that the media is not reporting right now? What do you think that is? The media malpractice is on full display, but maybe there's something we've missed. We'd like to hear from you. Josh Firestein is not here today because, he was in an auto accident, and I need to apologize. When he texted me, I thought he was sending me a picture of another lady's car, saying this lady started a 3-car pileup.
Yeah.
So let me just preface this really quickly. I said, I read the text as this lady was in a 3-car pileup, hit another car. And so I'll put my response on the shelf. And then he actually was saying this lady hit me in a 3-car pileup. My response was, poor thing.
To another
Because I thought it was about the woman. I didn't know what to say. Like, I don't know her, poor thing. I hope she's okay. But it sounds like, man, I got hit by a car. I'm going, oh, poor thing. So my apologies, Josh. He's going to go get checked out because he's not feeling well. So keep him in your prayers. And Captain Morgan, CEO number 2, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine. You know what has me excited?
What?
Here's a person where if you take away the words right-wing extremist,
Oh, really?
this liberal thinks they're making the case against Trump. It seems like it might as well be a campaign ad. See if you disagree.
Wonder what Trump will actually do if he gets back into office? You don't have to speculate because he calls his plan Agenda 47. And spoiler alert, it's scary as shit. Here's some of the worst ideas we're in store for if he wins in November. He's promised to end birthright citizenship, enlist an army to round up and deport millions of undocumented immigrants, and deploy thousands of U.S. troops to the southern border. Trump says he'll ban gender-affirming care for trans kids and prevent schools from helping kids through their transition. He wants to forbid schools from even teaching anything about sex and gender that diverges from the far-right's idea of the nuclear family. The scariest part might be Trump's threat to more or less dismantle the federal government.
Really?
If he's back in office, he's going to purge anyone who could possibly stand up to him and replace them with MAGA loyalists like Stephen Miller. He's going to prosecute his political enemies using traditionally independent orgs like the DOJ as his own personal weapon.
I feel like we've experienced this.
I know, that's a little projection there.
The FCC and FTC. The whole thing is weird as hell, like everything Trump does, but there's nothing funny about Agenda 47 or the possibility that he might be president again.
Yes, it's weird as hell, like the nuclear family. Did you see she was saying that? The nuclear family? This is so sad to me. But black Americans who've actually bought into the idea that the nuclear family is the byproduct of a racist society or colonialism or slave ownership. Let's assume that that's true, which it's not. Do you not think he'd be better off with the mom and dad? It's sad to me that anyone has bought into this. The nuclear family. By the way, I thought you guys liked weird. You have drag shows for kids, and you have kids identifying as cats in school, and they can legally change their driver's license to whatever gender they want. I thought you were the party of weird. And I say this as someone who's definitively weird. That's the line of attack? Okay, I'm weird. Comment below. Hey, hit the like button if you're weird. I'm weird. I think that men and women are still a thing. I think we should deport illegal aliens. And I think that a nuclear family is better than a fatherless or motherless household. That's me, Mr. Weird Science.
I mean, it's really nice of her, though. All Donald Trump has to do is slap a "I'm Donald Trump and I approve this message" at the end of that. Just run it as a campaign ad.
I'm Donald Trump and I'm really weird.
At least she got the thing right. What is it? Agenda 2025 or Project 47?
Yeah, she said Project 47.
She said the right one.
She said the right one.
Yeah, well.
It doesn't prevent them from lying the next time.
Yeah.
Also, by the way, you can go and support the Trump campaign by buying the Donald Trump, the Fight Like Hell shirt that we have, crowdershop.com. It's Fight Like Hell, right?
Yes, Fight Like Hell on the shirt.
But it's a picture of him with the, I need one of those.
With the blood.
Why don't I have one?
We have them.
I don't have one.
You don't have one?
I don't have one.
It's in my closet.
What else is in your closet? Gerald, most of the time.
He's a homo.
Screw you. All right. 100% of the proceeds do go to the Trump campaign because I'm not a tech billionaire, but hey, you know what? You guys can help us there. And I am not unbiased. I do not try and present to be impartial. I want this win. Let's go on to this here. Stephen Colbert, he's gone viral because of the Kaitlin Collins moment. So before I move on to his doctoring of audio and I move on to the line of attack against Donald Trump for which they accused Donald Trump of using against Joe Biden because he had a stutter. Anyway, I'm foreshadowing here. He's been going viral because of this clip where Kaitlin Collins of CNN, Harry Forum lady, wasn't in on the joke.
Trump has kind of been thrown on his heels by this, and he's not really sure how to go after Vice President Harris. He knew his attack lines on President Biden. He really has struggled with how to go after someone who's 20 years younger than him, who is a different gender, a different race. It's kind of been this moment where he has not been able to coalesce around a single attack line.
I know you guys are objective over there, that you just report the news as it is. Oh, I know. CNN makes a... I know.
Is that supposed to be a laugh line?
It wasn't supposed to be, but I guess it is.
I don't know.
Yeah, it wasn't because of him either.
No.
Bring out the gay dancing needle.
Yeah, bring out the gay dancing. I'm sorry, Miss Breastless Wonder. I thought that this was actually going to go over quite well. So that's the reason he's going viral. We covered it yesterday, but then I noticed something because I watch these shows so you don't have to. Not only the inconsistency, that's not what you're about to see, but the completely faked outrage. That's what stood out to me. I watched something this morning. I said, wait a second. I remember 5 months ago when he acted as though the attack on Joe Biden being incoherent was a soul-wounding insult. So that brings us to this installment of Then and Now. Okay, so a couple of things here. This is going to be a multi-part kind of approach. References available, link in the description. Here is Stephen Colbert now, where he went off on Donald Trump for the Elon Musk X interview, right? And he was late. He was a day late, which surprised me. I think they maybe pre-tape a Monday show, saying that Donald Trump was slurring his speech. But there's even more to it than what you see.
Even though the technology was a complete cluster munch, shall we say, so was the actual interview. For some reason, Trump was slurring his words throughout. And many listeners said he sounded like Sylvester the cat. Now, if that sounds like an exaggeration, listen to the actual audio.
We need smart people. He doesn't have that ability. You'll have some that won't do well, but they'll actually be forced to do better because it'll be a pretty bad situation.
Now, Musk was clear from the outset that this wouldn't be a hardball interview.
I want to emphasize it's a conversation, and it's really intended to just get a feel for what Donald Trump is just like in a conversation. It's hard to catch a vibe about someone if you just don't hear them talk in a normal way.
Okay, but what if they talk like their teeth suddenly grew 3 inches overnight and their cheeks are stuffed with delicious saltwater taffy? Does that make it easier to catch a vibe?
Okay, to be clear, first, no, not funny, but it would be a fair line of attack if Donald Trump had developed a speech impediment overnight. I do believe that it would be, and it certainly would be fair game for comedy. Now, that didn't happen, so it's a false premise, but it's even worse. I want you to listen to the audio again that Stephen Colbert presented, not as a joke, but the audio.
We need smart people. He doesn't have that ability. You'll have some that won't do well, but they'll actually be forced to do better because it'll be a pretty bad situation.
Okay, so I don't know if he's deliberately joking, but I certainly know that his audience is not aware of what is taking place. I want to make sure that you are. Here is the unedited audio from the original Space interview.
We need smart people, and we need people that have an ability to lead, and she doesn't have that ability. You'll have some that won't do well, but they'll actually be forced to do better because it'll be a pretty bad situation.
And here is the cleaned up audio without those sort of audio, those digital artifacts that Elon Musk released.
And she doesn't have that ability. You'll have some that won't do well, but they'll actually be forced to do better because it'll be a pretty bad situation.
There you go. Pretty easy.
You can comment. Does it seem like Stephen Colbert doctored it a little bit? And if he did, was it clear that it was a joke? I'll certainly never be one to fact check a joke, but it doesn't seem like the audience. No. And the reason I would present the argument that it doesn't seem like it's meant to be a joke is because it is lockstep with the DNC talking points and every single mainstream outlet who are making the same point. So that's the first point. But he also was attacking him, saying he has a lisp and he sounds like he's eating saltwater taffy.
Yeah.
You know, funny stuff. Yeah. Stuff we like. Comedy.
Jokes.
But this brings us back to then, where Colbert didn't just say or implicate that it was out of line to make fun of Joe Biden's incoherent babbling, but he actually acted as though it was grossly offensive and discriminatory to even think of mocking Joe Biden because of a stutter.
Here's Trump on Saturday mocking the speech impediment Joe Biden has had since childhood.
2 nights ago, we all heard Crooked Joe's angry, dark, hate-filled rant of a State of the Union address. Didn't it bring us together? Remember, he said, I'm going to bring the country together.
Wow.
Son of a bitch.
Wow. And he was, by the way, doing segments on this for a long time. He's had a stutter since he was saying, that's not true.
No.
It's never been true.
Bullshit. No.
But again, everything is victim currency. It's victim status. And by the way, like I said, I think it's fair game both ways. It's a lie that Joe Biden has a stutter, and it's a lie that Donald Trump was slurring his speech. Both of those are lies. But even if they were both true, right? If your jokes were predicated on something true, it's fair game to me. It's the double standard. And you take that double standard and you apply it across the board to which views are permissible to be presented, to which views are actually presented on Google, maybe as a sponsored ad versus a non-sponsored ad, to perhaps removing the sitting president of the United States from all digital social media platforms. It's the same perspective. It would be attributable to happenstance if it didn't always line up in one direction all the time with the mistakes. That's my issue.
Well, to be fair, President Biden does have a stutter. It's a brain stutter. It's
yes.
Not so much a mouth stutter.
Yes.
But the brain kind of skips kind of like a record sometimes. So.
Well, that's what happens when you get Shutter Island lean back into water so you stop sniffing little boys. I don't know if it's an effective.
It didn't work.
It didn't work.
Still sniffs.
But you know what? He went for broke. And 4 months later, after that video, Joe Biden dropped out because of his cognitive decline.
No, sorry, I should say stutter. Because of his stutter.
Because of his stutter.
Yes.
And I should clarify, he was forced out. And this is not
the mob.
This is not new. Think about this. Is 5 months ago. Stephen Colbert wants you to believe that he didn't know there was cognitive decline. It's not new. The media itself has been in decline for years.
Extra, extra! Read all about it. Today's headline: newspapers are a relic. Going out of business, print media is dead. What? See? But they still serve a purpose. Keep your subscriptions up so we can sell ads for things you don't need. Extra. Extra. I'm hiring.
Thanks, Colbert.
What are you going to use to spank your dog? I mean, come on.
I don't need to use. Come on, Joe Louis is a good dog. Don't.
Well, not your dog.
You're going to make the audience upset.
Theoretical dog.
Yeah. No.
You know, rub their face.
If I want to punish my dog, I just give him one of those indestructible dog toys who wanted to be a sponsor to the show and nearly killed him.
Yes, well.
And then went out and released social, like, hey, he didn't plug my it's like, you almost killed my dog.
Yeah, let's not go there. You don't want this plug.
You want that commercial? You sure about that commercial? All right. Let's move on here to these scandals. Let's compare some scandals.
Okay.
It's fun to compare scandals.
Scandals.
It's salacious, lascivious, outrageous. So, again, and going along with the double standard, and this is also, it's going to lead into this recent poll and why it's inaccurate. Now, I can't verify that all of the polls out there can be weighted however they want and that they aren't accurately reflecting the American conscience. What I can do is prove that this one poll the media is using as a talking point is verifiably false. And it's important to lay the groundwork here in how the media treats these candidates, because that's honestly the first layer before you get to the legitimacy of a poll. Do people have accurate information? Let's go through these scandals and the selective outrage. Trump, this is the scandal that's been trending here for the last 24 hours.
Yeah.
The Trump War Room put out this tweet, right, highlighting basically what are disparities with the migrant crisis before and after. It says your neighborhood under Trump, your neighborhood under Kamala. It says import the third world, become the third world. Okay. I don't know if you know this, but for the first time, a majority of Americans support deportation and certainly actually building a wall and having some kind of border security. However, the media immediately went into attack mode, saying that actually this tweet implying that there is a third world is racist.
This is a social media post from the campaign, okay? The campaign is backing him up on this, racist messaging.
I understand that they say racist because the picture has some black people.
Yeah, but it has Hispanic people too. And there's one guy that could pass for white in there.
Could be.
I mean, I don't know, but to show me a bunch of white people coming over the southern border. We'll get to the argument in a minute, but come on.
So hold on a second. It's racist to say that there's a first world and a third world. It's racist now to say that there is an advanced world and there is a technologically challenged world. It's racist to say that there are countries that are superior to other countries. It's the same thing they try to say that referring to any countries as shitholes was racist. Remember when he said that? You're lying. You're lying if you're claiming that you've never used the term shithole to describe a house, to describe a country, to describe a neighborhood.
Of course.
You are lying left, right, center. I don't care. It's the feigned outrage. Joe Biden stutter. Third world? Yes, there's a third world. And it looks like that sometimes, okay?
Sometimes it looks like a bunch of people. And you know who maybe understands this a little bit more right now? New York. The New York Post article came out. $5 billion is what they are paying right now to take care of this problem. It's going to double, they think, next year. Can you imagine $10 billion?
You know who understands it more? People in the third world.
Yes, that's true. Trying to leave it.
Yeah, they're not offended at you referring to it as a shithole because they're trying to leave said hole of shit.
Well, they say it's racist when they can't say it's wrong.
Right. Exactly. So here are some headlines from The Independent. Trump campaign is dragged for racist post about life under Democrats from Huffington Post. The Trump campaign just tweeted something really racist. And then, of course, that gets amplified by social media, and Donald Trump is not afforded a platform to defend himself. Now, let's compare that. So that's the scandal. Import the third world, become the third world. I'm okay with it. Kamala's scandal that the media is not covering. We've been watching CNN. I don't know that they've covered it at all this morning. I could be corrected.
You won't be.
They got caught running ads that altered real news headlines to ones that were basically praising. They were effectively campaign ads for Kamala.
Yeah.
Thinly veiled, not even thinly veiled. They were designed to look like news articles that don't exist with legitimate, I use that term loosely, news outlets. So they paid to trick you into believing that there's news out there that doesn't exist. They were caught.
So weird.
And by the way, some of these ads didn't even include the fact that they were ads. I think you can bring this up. This is overlay B6 with Axios. Google blamed it on a glitch. You know, when you search something, how much is that worth in free advertising? Think about it. If you search something like, hey, extra wide feet sandals.
Who would do that?
Mine are coming in fine. I have Hobbit giant wide feet. And you Google it, and then you see ads, right? Sponsored. You're like, it's just for any shoot. You skip it. Right? Yeah. Comment below. Isn't that what you do? You skip it? Same thing if it shows up in your inbox? So how much would you pay to make it look real? It's not that they purchased ads. It's the lie about the ads. And Google, again, when does a glitch ever line up on the other side of the issue?
Well, how is Google okay with this? So AP and Reuters, the places that they did this with, Axios broke the story, but AP and Reuters were the ones that had the ads that made it look like they had articles. I'm like, how are they? Like, it's like somebody like doing LWC and saying, hey, this came out from Steven Crowder. How is that possible? They're pissed off about it.
Yes.
Google's fine with it. And then Google says, oh, it was a glitch that they didn't show up his ads. I'm like, okay, first off, you're fine with a policy that should not even be legal under advertising rules. You're faking an article.
Right.
And using a legitimate news organization to make it seem like they're writing it. And second, it glitched?
Yeah. Well, here, let me read you some of the fake...
There are no glitches like that.
Let me read you some of the fake news headlines. You guys can bring them up. And I think we have some side-by-sides where it says, so if you would have searched Kamala Harris, something, let's say, in Google search, this would show up from AP. And you would think it's an AP article where it says, VP Harris's economic vision, lower costs and higher wages. That's actually an ad from the Harris campaign. Reuters, inflation is down. That's a paid ad from the Harris campaign. NPR, Harris will lower healthcare costs. That's an ad. And it may not have even told you that it was a sponsored ad. It's just a glitch. Think about that for a second. This, by the way, this administration, the White House, you heard Jen Psaki, you've heard Karen Jean-Pierre, they have wanted misinformation to be barred from big tech. AP, Reuters, and NPR are considered benchmarks, right? They're actually used in determining what is permissible information versus misinformation. These are legitimate news outlets. They've spent years and years telling you we need these outlets. We need objective journalism. And then they create fake headlines to lie to you.
Yeah.
Give the organization legitimacy, then fake a headline and not even tell you it's an ad. As far as I'm concerned, this shouldn't just be a violation. This should be a felony. This should be a serious... This is enough for stealing the election, to determine this election, at least an attempted steal at this point. It's enough to me. It is a blatant lie. And we caught them this time. How many other times?
Why does it keep coming back?
How many times have they not been caught?
Yeah. The search for Donald Trump and the assassination, the search for Trump rally, and it always comes back to Harris. Why is it always coming back to Google? Yes. It seems like every scene of the crime, Google's standing right there going, oops.
Yes. And it's only her campaign doing this. To be clear. Only her
Donald
campaign.
Trump's not doing this.
And only her campaign is permitted to do it through Google.
By the way, it's kind of a waste of money. These guys are in the bag for you anyway. Like, why? The media's carrying
But if people search it, if people search it, they'll think, oh, this is an article. I'll read it.
It just seems weird to me. I'm like, well, these guys are already in the bag for you. What are you doing this for?
Think about this. Reuters, inflation is down. Think about that. Talk about, is there any clear example of propaganda?
No, I don't think so. And the report that came out today, and we're not really touching on it much, I think inflation was down to like 2.9%. They're like, it's amazing. I'm like, A, that's a point higher. That's an entire point higher. They wanted it 2, that's 3. That's a whole lot higher than they wanted. B, Donald Trump never even had it above 2.
Also, they're going to have to revise this because they often do with their inflation rates and jobs reports.
For a minute, right?
And it's 1 month.
Yeah.
Here you go. It was so bad that Kamala was even called out by some left outlets like the New Republic. They said, it is unclear why Harris's campaign felt the need to do this, as there has been plenty of positive coverage of Harris since President Joe Biden withdrew from the race and endorsed her to endorsed her to replace him. It's like, it's unclear why they would need to present that the media is bought and paid for when we're clearly already bought and paid for.
Yes. Why would you do that?
And this is the big... Why does she think that she can get away with it? Because she can. Because she does. The same woman saying, tech billionaires, Elon Musk and Donald Trump, who don't represent the... Okay, what about Meta, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok? What about Google, Alphabet, YouTube? They're all in the bag for you, let alone ABC, NBC, CNN, CNBC, MSNBC, CBS. And you want to accuse 2 places, and you want to shut them down. Rumble and X?
Yeah.
This is many, many, many tens of millions in free advertising because it's a lie. And she has no fear of accountability. That's the issue. These people now have what they used to try and accomplish in secret, they do in the open. They think you're dumb. They think you're dumb. She hasn't given a press conference. She hasn't given an interview, and she hasn't really answered any legitimate questions in 24 days since she's been named the nominee. 24 days. The closest thing she's done to putting out an economic proposal is stealing Donald Trump's policy of no tax on tips.
Which she was against.
Yes.
Essentially by voting for the IRS to come in and make sure you paid taxes on your tips.
Can you imagine what the media would do if Donald Trump was the one altering headlines?
Oh, man. Oh, God. Oh, man. Oh, God. Oh, man. Oh, God. Oh, man.
Oh, that's right. We already know. Bring up collage B4. This was after the 2016 election where Facebook banned the practice of altering headlines, saying that fake news was helping Trump win. Yeah, which, of course, was not coming directly from the Trump campaign.
No.
It's not the same thing at all. They tried to say Russia, Russia, Russia. So we know how they would react. Donald Trump, only Kamala's side is doing this. They believe you are dumb.
Yeah, but she doesn't just not fear the repercussions. So she knows the media is not going to come after her. And even if they did, she won't answer the question.
She won't answer the question.
She'll just move on. Right now, this should be the biggest story in media. They shouldn't be talking about anything. Right now, they're going to talk about this. Trump praises Musk for firing striking workers. That's something we'll talk about here in just a second with the UAW lawsuit against them to the NRLB.
Yeah.
This should be the thing they're talking about. Kamala Harris still ducking questions. Kamala Harris still ducking questions. They're not.
They're not.
They're trying to go to Trump slurring his speech. They're trying to go, you said Russia, Russia, Russia. They're saying Iran is the new proxy. Iran is the new foreign interference right now. They invaded the Trump campaign.
They tried to assassinate Donald Trump.
And then they put a chart on there, they put kind of some bullet points, and they say in 2016, Russia, to help Donald Trump, interfered with the election. And then they just kept going. Like, they're just still living in this fake world where all of these organizations are in the bag for
They
Trump.
believe you are dumb. They want you to remain dumb so that they can continue to treat you like you are dumb. Do we have the clip of the price fixing? So this is something that stuck out at me. I want you to think of something in your head right now before I play this clip. It's not an actual economic proposal from Kamala Harris. Price fixing. Okay, price fixing usually means what? Usually means fixing a price, meaning you make it impermissible for that price to change. I know sometimes people miss, but usually it's a government policy meant to be used during times of shortages, things like that, so that you don't see astronomical inflation, which we have seen. Here is Kamala Harris talking about this.
When I was Attorney General, I went after price-fixing schemes. And when I am president, I will continue that work to bring down prices.
Okay, all right. So here's the thing. That comes off the heels where she said, I know and you know that groceries are still too expensive, even though she tries to say the economy is doing great. Right. And then she blames it on price fixing. Here's how this doesn't make sense. I'm sure you probably already know because I don't assume you're dumb. It is not an example of price fixing if what is going on is what you have referred to as shrinkflation, to blame the corporations, where the prices are going up and the portions or the allotment of goods is actually going down. That's not price fixing. The price is increasing. That's the primary problem. Price fixing would be, in this instance, the government stepping in saying, hey, you can't raise the price of orange juice anymore. They've inflated the prices through their policies. You have to deal with it. Their solution is to come in and tell businesses, nope, you can't increase the prices anymore. Well, what do you think happens? The business lays people off. The business goes under. We know how this works because we did it in this country with rent forgiveness against, by the way, constitutional law, according to the Supreme Court, where we said, hey, you don't have to worry about the rent right now. Oh, wait, by the way, you own it? You own it? You're a home provider? You still have to pay the mortgage. What happens? You lose the property. In that instance, it goes to the government. That's why you have these organizations that are too big to fail. Price fixing. We'll just tell businesses they can't increase the prices. Oh, well, if that worked, let's just always do it and no one would ever be upset.
Problem is it never works, and they act like the price fixing, she's trying to blame corporations by saying, oh, they're artificially keeping the prices high. It's like, no, they're raising prices, sometimes to make more money. Fine. You don't like it? Buy another product. If their product is too expensive, the free market works itself out pretty quickly. You go, I don't like this one, I'll go to this one, right? Very easy stuff to do. But she's saying they're all getting together in a room and saying, hey, let's just keep the prices artificially high. No. Their costs went up, so they raised prices. You don't like it? Fine. Move on to another product.
Yeah, people don't understand what price fixing is fundamentally, and that the really egregious price fixing, for example, is rent control that you see from the government. You guys ever been to a rent control apartment in New York?
They're actually talking about this right now.
Oh, they're talking about the meme. Let's bring this up really quickly.
Refusing to pronounce
Anna Navarro, I used to be a Republican and also very fat.
She is the child of immigrants, and as if that is something bad. This is a guy who has told us that Latino immigrants come here to take black jobs, whatever that means.
You know exactly what it means.
She's just doing talking points or what?
You know exactly what it means. That it disproportionately affects black workers who work in the jobs that you have, by the way, described when you describe economic injustice and you want to push for equity. You know that they are disproportionately affected by illegal immigrants coming in and working, for example, manual labor jobs. They steal a higher percentage of jobs from black working Americans than upper middle class white Americans. Whatever that means, are you stupid?
Well, yeah.
There was something so repulsive about hearing those two very wealthy guys laughing about firing people, doing it in such a kind of a callous manner, right? It's not just what they said, it's how they said it.
Oh, great. This is perfect because we have
wait. It's not the substance, it was not nice.
It was not nice the way he said he wanted to fire people, the way that Elon Musk come in and he fired people who wanted to continue to make Twitter a non-profitable company with their net negative stock value, to come in and to fire them and say these people don't know what they're doing. I think that is mean.
Well, why don't you cry about it?
She never ran a business.
She's never run a business in her life. Everything that she says is a damn lie, straight from the pit of hell.
Good job, Nick
Good for her. She looked better fat. At least she seemed a little bit happy. And this is, right now at this point, the steal is already taking place. There was an election worker fired in Harris County, Texas. That did affect the election. We'll talk about that probably tomorrow. It's one county. It's the county that you can prove. It's the ads that we can prove with Kamala Harris. You can't catch all of it, but there's enough. And we are gearing up the election live stream of the century, November 5th. 2024, this is the place to tune in. The electoral integrity map. We will be able to not only call states, but to dispute states. No more Arizonas, no more pipes bursting in the middle of the night with no substantiation. They change the story the next day. No more Bristol boards going up in precincts in Detroit. We'll have boots on the ground. We'll have teams in every major city, in every major swing state, and you, volunteers, as well as a guest list that, would make Ed Sullivan blush.
I'm jealous.
$89 annually, lidewithcredit.com/mugclub. We do need your support to make it happen. Nothing happens in darkness, and plan on watching it on Rumble, because I'm willing to bet that YouTube's going to suspend us. By the way, same company that allowed those fake news ads from Kamala Harris.
Yes.
Are you starting to get the picture?
And plan on watching it for a couple of days. Thanks, Pennsylvania.
Yes. Yes, exactly. You can't be expected to count the votes in the same day like Florida.
Oh.
Like any third world country in South America.
Can't say third world.
It's second
Can't say third world because that is racist.
I don't want to offend Anna Navarro.
You don't want to offend Anna Navarro because she may lose more weight.
Oh.
Some positive there.
So they're talking about, and this is what they do. They point to labor unions, and they act as though that's you, the working class American. It's not. It's not. So people are furious now. They've picked up a new thing because the lisp didn't work, right? The stutter didn't work, the attack against Donald Trump. So now they're saying these people are callous. Elon Musk and Donald Trump joked about firing workers to the point that the UAW, the United Auto Workers Union, filed labor charges against Elon Musk and Donald Trump over laughing on a podcast.
What was behind the decision to do it so quickly?
Look, because this is the problem in America right now. The rich keep getting richer at the expense of the working class. And people like Donald Trump and Elon Musk, they sneer at labor law, but they don't care about labor law.
Shut up,
because
Sean.
they don't care about working class people. They believe in buying off the system and buying off politicians and being able to have their way with people. And, look,
look at the signs behind you.
Employers need to be held accountable in this country when they break the law.
So Donald Trump was talking with Elon Musk about firing people at X in order to clean up. And then he said, and there are some companies where, if you try and change, we're going to go on strike. Fine, you're all gone. And they laughed. And I laughed.
Everybody laughed.
Because it's funny.
They self-selected themselves to be fired.
Yes. And so the UAW filed these charges with the National Labor Relations Board, NLRB.
I've heard that before.
Yeah, we've experienced that.
Yes.
We've had, former employees who claim to be conservative then go hire Act Blue lawyers.
Yeah,
that's Act Blue?
No, that's a different, but then Act Blue lawyers, and they file it with the NLRB. This is a tactic as old as time, by the way. Yeah. They do it with employers. Act Blue gets their claws in somebody, the biggest organization, right, that supports the Democrats in the country.
Huge.
They throw lawyers at you. They say, file some labor charges, because these are the same people, by the way, who've actively fought against right-to-work states where there's far more economic prosperity. This was the clip. Oh, I believe we do have the clip that enraged them so.
Yeah.
And I'd be happy to help out on such a commission.
I'd love
if it were fun.
You're the greatest cutter. I look at what you do. You walk in and you just say, you want to quit? They go on strike. I won't mention the name of the company, but they go on strike and you say, that's okay. You're all gone. You're all gone. So every one of you is gone. And you are the greatest. You would be very good.
So the UAW.
Filing charges. Listen, go back to that clip of the UAW guy.
Okay.
Go. How are we going to gloss over this? Look at this.
Pull the clip. Just want to full of them?
Just show it. Just show it. Look at that, right behind him.
Harris.
Vote 24 Harris. Like, this guy's obviously in the bag.
No.
Saying, no, Donald Trump, you can't say that.
They don't want you to think UAW. They want you to think American workers.
No, it's not.
Well, let me just put a bow on this so you can go check out the references. You don't need to. I don't think that you'd believe I'm lying to you about the UAW. It's pretty clear. Yep. Take the UAW's economic advice if you want the country to look like Detroit.
That's true.
So they've officially
in the Midwest.
Yeah.
Like, how's that working out for you, Midwest? I lived up there in Cleveland. I saw the closed plants.
Well, you know what? No, hold on a second. Or because we'll say that's not fair. You're using a broad example to make a point, even though the UAW basically owns Detroit, right, in American auto manufacturing. Okay. Support the UAW's economic influence if you want our government to operate comparably to Plymouth.
Not their water.
Since 1990, the UAW has given $40 million to Democrats. $40 million. About 900,000 to Republicans. 999. Call it $1 million. Round up.
That was only all
40 million to 1 million. Now, here's the issue, too, is the UAW does not represent American auto workers, to be clear. They represent a specific subset of union thugs who have driven American auto manufacturing into the ground. If you compare, actually, for example, the average hourly cost of a UAW worker, it's about $64. Tesla is $45 to $50 an hour. You compare them to Toyota, it's significantly less than that. If you look at the cost for retirees, and again, what happens is they always go on strike. They go on strike. They want more benefits. I'm not saying that only the UAW is responsible for the nosedive that American auto companies have seen, but they are a big part of it. Let's look at General Motors, okay? Each active General Motors employee basically sponsors 3.2 retirees and survivors. So that means there are 3.2 retirees for every active employee with Cadillac pension benefits. The company, it covers healthcare, it covers dental. We've actually averaged out, if you go back and watch a video, Detroit in Ruins, we averaged out the cost of dental per car with a GM car.
Yeah.
It's about $5.3 billion for 1 year. If you're looking at these costs with the UAW workers, you're looking at the Cadillac benefits. And I'm not saying that people don't deserve a pension, that people don't deserve some benefits, but it has to be determined by the market, not by never-ending bailouts. They wouldn't be able to do this. Hey, you know who doesn't have this? Anyone not in the UAW. Why do they matter more than you? Why does the UAW worker matter more than the American worker for Toyota? For example, in Texas, I believe the most American car on the road is the Toyota Corolla as far as American parts, assembly, labor. The result is they need bailout after bailout. They make shitty cars, and then their plants get moved to Mexico. But the bailouts are guaranteed if they fail again from a Harris administration, because there's nothing that Democrats like more than to bail out giant companies at your expense. You don't work for GM, for Ford. You don't work for the big three. Your tax dollars go to pay for the company that should fail in large part because of the UAW. And they want to make it seem like it's the working man versus the elites. All right. I don't know if you actually believe it. You want America to look like Detroit? Listen to the UAW.
And by the way, when was it something that you could file a lawsuit over? Or a complaint to the NLRB for somebody who's saying, you cut all these, I can't believe you cut it. That's incredible. These people so strike. If you're in a right to work state and people are like, hey, we're going to go on strike. It's like, well, you mean you're going to try to shut down my production because you don't like the contract you signed?
Yeah.
And the job that you begged me for?
Right.
Go get a job somewhere else. You're fired. Bye.
Right.
We're not back in the 1920s, 30s, 40s where unions were needed to make sure people weren't chained to their desks.
Right.
It's not happening anymore. You can just go get another job. You're like, oh, well, that's tough. Yes. Freedom is tough.
Hey, I'm the backbone of America. Okay, I'm taking the screw for this battery, and I'm screwing the one despite the positive part of the battery.
You are, huh?
Yeah, and Dylan over there, he's shooing in, he's suturing it, he's whatever rivets the negative.
That's right, and you're going to play dominoes for 3 hours
I'd like to talk.
after.
I got a cigarette break. Those cools aren't going to smoke themselves.
Come on.
I got a 30-minute coming up, so he's going to take over for me.
Yeah, you wouldn't last a day in my union, pal. Don't do that. Don't do that. That's another guy. Don't do that.
God.
You can't touch that wrench.
No, you can't. Acting like they're
Wait, hold. Did you guys hear that? That's the sound of automation. So,
coming to a plant near you.
Yeah.
By the way, let me just say this one thing. Frank Luntz made this point recently, and almost seemed like he was like befuddled by this.
The guy in the toupee with sneakers?
The guy that I almost never listen to. Okay.
Yeah.
He made this point to CNN. He said, look, I'm doing a lot of interviews. I've been doing this since 1989, 1990, and I have never publicly seen, to this degree, actually frontline workers saying the management of the auto workers unions don't represent us. The union bosses, they don't represent us at all. Don't listen to those guys. And the more they go after it, the more they go after Trump, the more he's seeing people go to Trump that actually work the jobs that want to have a better life.
Right.
The management, it's not the company management anymore that's the problem. It's the UAW management. It's the union bosses that are the problem, that do not represent, or even, honestly, come on, care about the workers.
Yeah, come on.
Come on, man.
You trust Frank?
No.
Want that walking hair hat? Show of hands. Yeah, well, I got a place you can put your hand there, buddy.
It's on CNN doing it, and they're all like, oh, gosh, this is real bad, isn't it?
Yeah, well, he's no longer at Fox News.
Yeah, well, there's a reason.
Kamala's economy. This is something a lot of you asked us to cover this. I know you're worried about it. Spoiler alert, it's horseshit.
Kamalanomics?
Yeah, it's not a thing, and this poll's a sham. Let me put it that way. Not all polls, but this one certainly is, and this is the one that the media is going to be running with.
Yeah.
So this comes from the Financial Times and University of Michigan, and they claim
Michigan sucks.
Now the poll doesn't even say this, to be clear, but they claim now that voters have flipped and trust Kamala more than Trump on. I know what you're thinking. Pantsuits. No, the economy.
And a new poll by the Financial Times and the University of Michigan Ross Business School shows Americans trust VP Kamala Harris more on the economy than former President Donald Trump. But the numbers are tight.
Okay,
just like the pantsuits.
Okay,
That's not real.
Everything that guy just said is bull, and I'll show you why. But ask yourself, comment below, don't cheat. Why do you think there'd be a sudden surge of trust in Kamala Harris on the economy? Let's break it down with this week's installment of Poll Watchers.
A little risque. We'll have to.
For you.
You mean compared to a drag queen store? Compared to a drag show at a library?
We'll change that a little.
That's not even borderline burlesque.
Jeez.
We tried to find the most tame version we could. All right. So
I'm going to play it again later.
Stop it.
So this poll. Here's why this poll is complete. This poll that comes from the Financial Times, University of Michigan. It sampled 1,001 registered voters. Okay. Democrats sampled were 45% to Republicans 41%. Now, right away, before people who may not know how polls function, you may say like, oh, that's 4 points higher for Democrats. Yeah, but that's actually not what's most severe here. The poll dramatically over-surveyed strong Democrats. They had strong Democrats 25% to 21%. That is not in line with other polls if you look at the crosstabs. So there is, just to start off with, a slight oversampling of Democrats and a significant oversampling of strong Democrats, which makes the answers, to be clear, where people actually trust Trump more than Kamala Harris on the economy, according to this poll, that much more meaningful. And I know the general public, when they say, hold on, they approve Kamala more than Trump, is thinking the same thing.
Are you out of your fucking mind?
Yeah, and for comparison, by the way, even I'll bring this up from CNBC's latest poll, which is not known for being unbiased. They have strong Democrat, 22%, strong Republican, 23%. So typically speaking, if they have it weighted in Democrats' favor, then they'll have more strong Republicans or vice versa. In this case, both of them are leaning towards strong Democrat and Democrats overall.
So am I reading that correctly, that CNBC poll actually favors Trump on the economy 2-1?
2-1.
Jeez.
Yes. So let me read you the question
close.
here. This is the leading question with the poll, okay? Well, first, let me read you the headlines. Financial Times are saying that Kamala Harris is more trusted than Donald Trump on the U.S. economy. CNN was saying it, too. You're seeing this all across the media. She's more trusted. Okay.
Whatever.
Here's the actual question in the poll. The first question. Then I'll give you the follow-up two questions.
She's more trusted.
Yes. This is where they get that she is more trusted. Regardless of your opinion of these candidates overall or how you would vote for president, who do you trust most to handle the economy? So it's a wordy question.
It's a little leading.
It's a little leading. Kamala 42, Trump 41. That's well within the margin of error.
Yeah.
Here are the very next two questions in this same poll and the results. Go check the references in the link.
Yeah.
Don't take my word for it. If Donald Trump wins the presidential election in 2024, his economic policies, what they wrote, but do you think his economic policies will leave you financially, option A, better off, 42%, worse off,
40%. So that's a net plus 2% saying, I think that Donald Trump's policies would leave me better off.
Yeah.
Next question. If Kamala Harris wins the presidential election in 2024, do you think her economic policies will leave you financially better off? 33%. Worse off? 38%. That's a net negative of 5. That's a minus 5. Plus 2 for Trump. People answered. This poll weighed towards Democrats. It's almost a marvel that this happened. Said, yeah, I probably think I'd be better off under Donald Trump. Yeah, I probably think I would be worse off under Kamala Harris financially. This is the exact same poll. Please do not just buy the headlines.
He's beating her by 9 points on the better off. 9 points.
In this poll that they are citing.
On just the margins, he's beating her by 7 points. He's plus 2, she's negative 5. And those are this is the problem with polling right now. You have that one thing, boom, they grab the headline, 42, 41. You get into the sampling, that's a big issue. But these questions in polls can lead voters astray. In the same poll to have that kind of spread and go, how are people doing 42, 41? There's no way. Right. Look at who they're asking and how they're asking.
And by the way, it was this poll is under this umbrella, Global Strategy Group, GSG. Mm-hmm. It's one of the largest Democrat survey firms in the country. And in 2020, they were actually part of this group that acknowledged polling was awful. They predicted a Biden blowout. Well, a blowout that didn't happen, and even worse when you look at specific states. According to one of the pollsters involved, they said 2020 was an oh shit moment for all of us. So just to be clear, this is a poll that is oversampling Democrats, oversampling strong Democrats, and the 2 follow-up questions, you now have 2 clear-cut examples, show that more Americans believe that Donald Trump's financial policies will leave them better off. More Americans believe in this poll, meaning more Democrats believe that Kamala Harris's financial policies will leave them worse off financially. It couldn't be more clear. They're lying about it. Maybe it's one of those fake news headlines that Kamala Harris bought on Google and wasn't portrayed as a sponsored ad. I don't know. Are you starting to get the picture? This is enough. This is enough for that steal, by the way. This is enough. They are trying to steal this election. Have no problem. I don't care. YouTube, hey. We're not talking about the ghost of Chavez and Dominion voting machines. This is stealing an election because you are robbing American citizens of the information they need to make an informed vote. That's my opinion. You can click that button, by the way, if you want to help support us leading into the election night. The election live stream of the century. We have been strengthening the servers because we know a lot of you are tuning in. And here's the thing, though. There is also some good news to contrast this. So that's fake news.
Is, yeah.
There's fake news and there's some good news. In July 2024,